John Bush here with Texans for Accountable Government. I got some big news for you. As you know, Texans for Accountable Government, along with other civil libertarian groups in the Central Texas area, have been pushing back against the Austin Regional Intelligence Center, Central Texas's Fusion Center. One of our biggest points of contention all along has been that while the Austin Police Department and city officials have claimed that the Austin Regional Intelligence Center will focus on criminal intelligence, meaning it will collect information and analyze information and disseminate intelligence that's based on criminal predicate, meaning that they have to have reasonable suspicion that an individual has broken a law. Well, all along we have said that, hold on, it's actually an all-hazards fusion center, not just all crimes, meaning that there's the potential that there can be a public health component, which is a major concern for a lot of Central Texas residents. Well, we got a hold of the investment justification for the Department of Homeland Security Urban Area Security Initiative grant. This is it right here. I've been trying to get it since last week. And basically what we find out, as we've said all along, in contradiction, again, the Austin Police Department has been saying over and over that it's going to be based on criminal predicates.
Primarily, it's going to be arrest reports, incident reports. There has to be a criminal predicate in order for it to be in the system as part of our privacy policy.
There is some piece of information that we cannot take to a criminal court and get a prosecution on. We can't use that information because it would be suppressed. That would violate the entire premise of this whole
So, for instance, we have, we'll soon have online a automated license plate reader. I take it that won't be automatically tied into this database then, since that's not predicated on criminal activity.
There has to be predicated to specific criminal activity or reasonable suspicion of criminal activity.
Carter says guidelines for the center are still being developed, but ensures information gathered will only be criminal information.
It's about people that are suspected of actually committing crimes.
We will not make those same mistakes because our ultimate goal is not to be Big Brother. Our ultimate goal is to focus on crime prevention. If we see any emerging threats in terms of criminal threats and as crime prevention, and really to connect some dots and hopefully solve some crimes.
Well, here in the grant application, in the investment justification, we find that actually it states participation in the Austin Regional Intelligence Center will be open to all public safety and public health agencies in the Austin urban area. It goes on to state that they would like to, in the next 2 to 3 years, there's $100,000 allocated for a public health and medical analyst that will help in biosurveillance and disease tracking, regional disease tracking. This is a primary concern for many civil libertarians, again, in the Central Texas area, for many reasons. Among them, police officers are being trained all across the states to do blood withdrawals.
Hey guys, something's back here. He's got a fire!
Police were after Curtis Nelson's blood, the evidence to make their case. But this battle would break.
We saw what happened with the vaccine scare, and we don't want that to happen with law enforcement. We believe that law enforcement's purpose is to enforce the law. There's other apparatuses that are in place here in Central Texas to deal with health emergencies, to deal with public health problems. So we hope that you enjoy the information that we presented. You'll get to see some of the components of this grant, as well as some interviews with some Austinites and some footage of Austin Police Department, again stating that this is based on criminal predicate, which happens not to be the case. We're also inviting everybody, if you're concerned with this, if you're concerned with the police department and law enforcement working along with public health agencies to potentially track immunization records, we'd like for you to show up this Thursday coming up, May 27th at 10 a.m. at City Hall. It's on 2nd Street. Show up at 10 a.m. They're going to be voting on whether or not they should sign an interlocal agreement which would make the Austin Regional Intelligence Center operational. Now bear in mind, it's very likely that none of the City Council, except for today when this was released, has even seen this. The Austin Regional Intelligence Center has been moving forward through the Urban Area Working Group, which is a multi-regional, multi-jurisdictional task force basically created as part of the Department of Homeland Security grant. Unfortunately for we the people and for accountability and transparency, they are not under the Open Meetings Act here in Texas. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to speak out against that, check out tagtexas.org for more of our information and talking points. We're also asking you to call your city council tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And if you're viewing that, that would be today. So check out tagtexas.org, and then again on Thursday, May 27th, show up to City Hall at 10 a.m., stand up against Big Brother, stand with Texans for Accountable Government, your fellow Central Texas civil libertarians, in pushing back and saying, no, we do not want the law enforcement, Austin Regional Intelligence Center, to have anything to do with public health. Thank you.
Basically, a fusion center is a law enforcement apparatus that merges the local, state, and federal law enforcement together. They collect information in order to prevent terrorist attacks and criminal activity. So my question is, even though an Austinite hasn't committed a crime, right now the Fusion Center is capable of collecting information of a non-criminal nature. For example, the Fusion Center could gather banking records or immunization records or your shopping records from grocery stores. So the question is, do you feel comfortable with the law enforcement Austin Regional Intelligence Center collecting that kind of information?
Absolutely not. No.
Why is that?
I mean, that's an invasion. Obviously, it's an invasion of privacy, and then it just gets to the point where this is supposed to be a democracy, right? So then it becomes like a police state, and a police state from, you know, not just like in a physical way where you have like armed police, you know, outside the grocery store or so on, but just the fact that, you know, your information is being commandeered for. I mean, actually, now that I think about it, it's almost like it's a violation of your First Amendment rights or something, you know. So no, I mean that's crazy.
Would you feel comfortable with this law enforcement system gathering non-criminal personal information on you, such as your shopping records or your immunization records or potentially your banking information?
That's not right. It's not constitutional. Definitely not right. I would be pissed off.
Would you feel comfortable with this Austin Regional Intelligence Center collecting private information from citizens, for example, their immunization records or their purchasing records, their shopping records, if they have a Randall's card or whatnot, or even their banking accounts? Would you feel comfortable with the Austin Regional Intelligence Center doing that?
No, I wouldn't.
Hell no.
Why is that?
Because I don't see where that's their business.
It's not their business.
Unless somebody's a terrorist or somebody they're investigating for an investigation. Unless anything that's going on, they should have no access to that, and I would not appreciate it.
It's not their business. The Patriot Act is bad enough. You know, it was supposed to expire by now, and it hasn't. They've kept renewing it, and now, you know, people are being wiretapped without our permission.
Or issue, do you think that police officers should be trained to do blood withdrawals on DWI suspects?
No. I was actually, that was an issue for a lot of us last year when they were really looking at approving that. And so absolutely not. I don't want anybody, you know, taking my blood for any reason if it's not in a medical facility for medical reasons.
Hey, just one last question, guys. Are y'all glad that Arnold Acevedo agreed to not make y'all be trained to be phlebotomists to draw blood? Did y'all sign up to draw blood?
Sure, I became a cop for a reason. Otherwise I would have become a nurse.